What a week. What a week. So I'm on day I don't know what's today. I'm on day 25, 24, something like that of working. And I still have another week and a half at least scheduled out. So I've been busy. And I'm not complaining because it's what I've been praying for is, some more stability, financial stability. And the way I see it is me working more right now is the path of least resistance. So, I haven't really been having to worry about money and putting all my energy and stuff into that. So I've kind of been able to focus on some other things. And I genuinely enjoy what I do. When I was working this much or even more in the past, I would be depressed and burnt out and drained. And that's how I know that this has been aligned and it's been you know, for me because I'm not any of those things, even though I'm working a lot. And anyway, so you guys know I was doing overnights. I finished that last week, but 2 nights before that ended, one of my guinea pigs started showing signs of him being sick. And so I did the math and I put together that he was about 6.5, and their lifespan is like 5 to 7. So I was like, okay, I guess it's his time. And I was still doing my overnight, so I was kind of worried being away from him. But I had my boyfriend checking on him and staying with him and whatnot. And it was my last overnight, and I came home at 8 in the morning, and I was holding him, and he started seizing and eventually passed in my arms about 45 minutes after I got home. And I was devastated, of course. I was heartbroken, and but I think it was easier knowing that it was coming. I was kind of prepared for a couple days, and I think that makes it a little easier. And especially with my busy schedule, I was able to, spend as much time with him. And I started feeling guilty because, since I've had such a busy schedule this month, I really haven't spent time with any of them. And, I would prefer to just nap on the couch instead of taking care of my own animals. And it's like, as an empath, I get very emotional. And, you know, those mom feelings of did I do enough come about. And then it's like, I don't know where these voices come from. It's just a guinea pig. Like, get over it. It's not the end of the world. And I think that's, still some trauma of growing up with a narcissistic father and my ex being a narcissist. I was always taught to shrink and to not have my emotions validated. And, some of that still lingers. And I feel like I always have to be the strong one. I always have to, keep it moving. So when heavy emotions come about like that, in the past, I've either used it as an excuse to drink, number one, or even after sobriety, I would use it as an excuse to be sad and depressed, and it would go on for days and weeks where, I don't think it's necessary. I think we need to process our emotions healthily, and no matter how long that takes, as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. Because before I would either just completely not feel them, so that would make them bottle up and I would get sick, or it would explode at the wrong time, the wrong place. You catch your sleeve on a doorknob and it's the end of the world. I use that example all the time. Or you feel too heavy into them and you use them as an excuse, and it becomes a defining moment for you of who you are. And that's the whole victim mentality, right? And that's what I've been trying to get out of. The last 5 years I've really stops the whole victim mentality thing and searching for validation. And, it got me thinking a lot that in the past I would probably not have handled it as well. But anyway, if you guys have been watching my videos, I've been currently working on my fear of being seen. And there's been a lot of moments, and I won't bore you guys with all of them, but I'll share a few. So last week at church, one of the guys that we've talked to once or twice came up and gave us a note that his wife had written. And it said, hey, we're having a bonfire on Friday. It's part of our, what they call a J group. It's basically like a organized group of people from church that get together outside of church. And we have been asked many times, but with my busy schedule, like I haven't even had an hour or two to myself. Like it's been an adjustment. But I wouldn't want to commit to something and then have to cancel. So I've just kind of been focusing on work as my priority right now without any added stress. And it's become like a well-oiled machine, trying to manage home life and my own pets and work and content creation and cooking and cleaning and all that. I've kind of gotten it down to a science where like I see where my pockets of time are during the day, when I can get stuff done, what's a priority that needs to get done that day. And I've been really proud of myself because I've been sticking to it, and I've been really regulating my nervous system and prioritizing rest and still getting everything that I need and want done. But anyway, so this kind of like just threw a wrench into things, I guess. So I got a little disappointed in myself because I told myself that I would post no matter what. But, that day I went into a migraine after I buried him, and I chose to listen to my body and just rest. But anyway, so that Friday for the bonfire for the church thing, it ended up being the day after my 3 weeks of overnight, so I didn't have an overnight that night. And my boyfriend was able to get his shifts switched, so we were able to go. And my guinea pig ended up passing that morning. And I was like, at least I have, a few hours where I can get things handled and go bury him and everything. And I think it was God knowing that that was going to happen that day. Because for me to go to a stranger's house, basically a stranger's house, not knowing who's going to be there, what's going to be there, new places, new faces, my biggest anxiety trigger. Like if you told me even a year ago that that's what I would have been doing, I would have laughed, completely laughed. Like I kept myself in isolation for so long, and I just see that this work that I'm doing is already working. Like I was literally seen and handed a note saying, hey, come over on Friday. I'm like, okay. And then out of all days of my busiest schedule, my busiest month, I had that time available. So I really think it was meant to be. And instead of using that time to be depressed and sit on the couch and probably order Chinese food and just try to comfort myself in any other way, like I was surrounded by like-minded people. I was socializing, but not on a surface level, like playing field, right? That's what drains me even more. I was actually able to have deep conversations about God, about addiction and recovery. Like it turned out that she was in recovery too. And she really felt that, God was nudging her. And she said when she feels that, she goes through with it. And then after it was over, she was texting me, thanking me for coming and everything. And I was thanking her for inviting me. And I opened up a little bit and I said, my guinea pig passed away this morning. And, in active addiction, I probably would have used that as an excuse to drink. And instead, I was going out and socializing and being around people. And I did my makeup and, I did things quite the opposite of what I usually do when I go through any kind of emotional trauma or stress or anything. And, I got in my head like, should I be grieving longer than I did? And I had deep talks with myself like, listen, you grieved all day. You were given the time and the space that you needed to. Like, one of my jobs canceled out of the blue. So I had more time that day specifically to do what I needed to do, to rest, to recoup, to grieve. And then I was like, you know what? I let it go because I'm not going to hold on to something and have it define me. I think I properly and healthily moved through the situation. And I think this is growth. So I don't know if anybody relates or can get a message out of this, but we're always going to have hard times, right? We can't stop life from lifing, but we can control how we deal with it and how we manage it, how we cope. Because if I were to pick up a bottle that day, I'd probably be back in rehab right now. Like, I don't want to go back there, right? I still have to keep moving. And, I've always been the kind of person that just wants to rest and never leave my home unless I have to. And this has just been a really long month of pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm proud of myself, I am. And, I didn't get a video out. Oh well. And even with that, I get in my head too. It's like I'm trying to build something. I'm trying to stay consistent. I'm making promises to myself. Like, there's times where I've made videos at somebody else's house just to still make sure I got it done, and fitting everything into my busy schedule and becoming like a well-oiled machine. But I think life kind of tells you to slow down when you need to. I'll even tell you a funny story that happened this morning too. So I had a job where I was walking these two little dogs, and they bark at any time they see another dog. And I've been doing this job now for like 4 or 5 days straight, and I haven't seen anybody else on the route that we take. I'm going down my walk as usual, and I'm a little flustered in my head because somebody did something crazy on the road and almost hit me, and I was a couple minutes late, so I was already a little like flustered and whatever. But anyway, so I see these two dogs, big dogs, coming towards me, so I move to the other side of the street to get out of their way. And the dogs see them anyway and still go bonkers and whatever, and I'm sitting there waiting for them to pass, and I'm getting a little annoyed, like just trying to keep the peace, and my social anxiety is going up. I'm like, I don't want to be seen, blah, blah, blah. And then I turned to look because somebody started to back out of their driveway, and a sprinkler turned on and directly hit me right here in the middle of the face, completely soaked. I'm like, what was that for, God? Like, what are you telling me, to cool down? Like, am I too hot-headed right now? It's just like, it's crazy when you have a relationship with God and the universe, and like you see all these little signs, and like you see things differently, and you're like, okay, I see you, I hear you, I got you. But I also think one of the biggest lessons I've learned from all this week is that be more intentional with my time, because for the last 5 years I've used all of my energy and all of my time and all of my worry and all of my everything into my financial stress, all of my energy. And I have not even, like, even before this month, I haven't really paid much attention to my own animals, and it makes me, like as a mom, feel bad. And then I have the underlying guilt of my pig, and I just feel like inadequate as a mom. And I think God was really just showing me, like, yo, I got you. Be more intentional with your time. Spend more time with what matters, not stressing and crying and getting burnout and overworked and napping things away. Like, ever since he passed away, I still have 3 other guinea pigs, and they all got upgraded houses. They all got new hammocks and beds and new treats. And I didn't even have to worry about, oh my God, I'm spending too much money. I'm spending too much money on these animals when I could use it for rent or like whatever. And it's just like, I would rather them be happy. And I've always said, like, I'll starve before my animals will starve. You know, that's the kind of person and the kind of pet parent I am. and I will go above and beyond for my animals. But yeah, I needed that reminder to slow down before I get into some kind of crazy workaholic mindset again. Yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. I'm going through a lot of growth right now. And again, I don't know if there was a message in here, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm documenting my journey in real time. And this is what's been going on this month. And I know as soon as summer's over, my schedule will die down a little bit and I can recoup. But for now, I'm just gonna keep going as much as I can. Yeah, I'm just really taking it easy, and I'm constantly reflecting, like, what do I need right now? I'm trying to eat healthier. Um, I'm not complaining about going on walks in 100-degree heat. I'm using it as, I'm exercising, I'm getting out, I'm enjoying what I do, I'm truly feeling fulfilled and like I'm helping people. And, a few other things have happened I'm not going to go into detail with, but, you know, I can truly see that they're blessings. I've been getting more jobs lately because somebody quit, and yes, I'm busier, but I know it's temporary, and I know it's meant for me, so I'm happy with it. Just gotta keep on pushing. It's crazy when you think like how you used to act and how you act now, and you can really see how far you've come. I think that's the biggest thing for me. I'm constantly being tested and shown different ways that I've grown and that I've really truly done the work, you know? So, the video that I had planned for last week will now be next week. So, stay tuned for that on Saturday, back to our regularly scheduled programming. But I just want to take a moment and say that I really truly appreciate all of you. There's a few of you that show up every single video, no matter what, and that means more to me than I think anybody really truly knows. Um, I want to build this community, and it gives me a sense of who I'm talking to now when I'm making these videos. So it really helps. And I know I've been slacking on getting to all of my friends' videos. Like I said, it's been a crazy month. I haven't even had a couple hours to myself. So that is on my list to do. So I will be coming to your guys' pages. But until next time, remember to stay kind to yourself. I love you, and I'm so proud of you. And I'll see you in the next one.